My next guest is the wonderful Lisa Altenpohl, and her favorite topic to talk about is the nervous system. Getting to know the world and universe of Somatic was a game changer for her, personally and professionally. Lisa is trained and educated in systemic coaching, neuro-embodied soul centering, a body-based approach, and also she is a somatic attachment therapist. Involving the body and the nervous system, either in one-on-one coaching sessions or in workshops, is the key in sustainable change, she says. So I'm very, very honored that she is here today. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy and excited to be here.
Yeah, especially because like neuro is more science, and then but you have the soul in there, and it's like, what?
Yes, and I think that's what I love about it, because also the program that I did, it's super science-based, but it also has a spiritual approach. And I love it when these two come together, because especially in these times right now, I feel like there's a lot of people that be like, oh. And here we have neuroscience and spirituality. It's like a kiss. They come together, and that's very beautiful. And I think that's super powerful because it really involves the intuition, because it has the belief that our intuition is such a superpower, such a good guidance for us. And so we take it on board whenever we coach. And also for me as a coach, it's really important, because that method is a lot about sensing, about feeling, and it's also about using my intuition to really sense into myself, like, should I take this path or that path, and not working from the mind or the brain, but really sensing, what does my client, what does my coaching need right now in this moment.
How do you practically use that? Like, how would you work with a client like with that kind of method?
So first, every session that I do, it starts with a regulation, which means that the coachee and I, we connect. Of course, usually we start talking in the beginning, but then quite fast we move away from talking into the body. And regulation really just means to come into your body, really feel your body. It's mostly like a body scan that I start with. And then in the session itself, my eyes are closed, my coachee's eyes are closed. I mean, they can open them whenever they need and have to. But it's a lot about giving space, whatever is inside of you, on a very physical level. And again, it's moving away from the thoughts, it's moving away from the mind, really sensing what is into you, what can you find inside of you. And then so many things happen. And I integrate that also with parts work, with somatics. So sometimes it's an inner child part that comes up. And then it's always the question, how can you feel that in your body? How can you sense that in your body? There's a lot of images coming up. People very often, because this is what we do as humans, we work with metaphors and images. It's like a burden that I carry on my shoulders. It's as if a stone is lying on top of me and things like that. And then we combine, or I combine, this whole felt sense with also imagination. Like, it's a lot about empowering my coachees also to integrate resources. Like, can you imagine to maybe put the stone aside? Can you get help from whatever, a creature, an angel, an animal, whatever? So it's in a way also very creative work.
How do you use, or how can you reset the nervous system like after trauma?
I mean, the nervous system, I was thinking how to describe it. And I would say we could, as a metaphor, think that the nervous system is like a loving parent. Like, if we put it in a poetic, sweet way, whatever, like the most, what the nervous system really wants is our survival. That's its job. And like a parent wants, hopefully, obviously, the best for
Hopefully,
their
yeah.
kids, like to make sure that they survive. And that's actually also what happens with trauma. And one person that I really admire and that I also myself learned a lot from is Peter Levine, who is the founder of somatic experiencing, and he says trauma doesn't lie in the event, it lies in the nervous system. So it's a lot about how did I react in that situation. So when a person experienced whatever sort of trauma in their life, it's a lot about recreating safety, and it's a lot about returning into the body. And it's also a lot about co-regulation, because most of the traumatic events that will happen in our life are somehow related to another person. So it's really like I get hurt in relationship with that person, even if it's a total stranger that is doing something to me. But I also heal in relationship with another person. So it's very physical in a way. So I'm very happy and thankful that we talk about that, because I still meet people who sometimes also tell me like, you know what, that happened such a long time ago. I think now this should be done. This should be over. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Also for myself, I would love to push that one single button that says it's over now. I don't have that anymore, but it's kept in the body. So it's also a lot about trauma release, because what happens with trauma in a very, very simplified way, because that's also kind of complex. But depending on the significance and the intensity of the trauma, it might be that some parts of ourselves are still stuck in that situation. So what the body always wants to do, it wants to physically finish that situation. That means if, for example, there was a situation where I wanted to run away, but I couldn't, that impulse is stored in my body. And with trauma release, that would actually mean that my body probably will shake and my legs will move as if they were running. And if we look at animals, we can exactly see that. There are some really great videos also that Peter Levine is recommending about an animal that was attacked, I think, by a lion or something, and that, I don't know what the animal was, is lying on the ground in a state of freeze, which means there was a lot of activation. It wanted to run away, but then the instincts were like, okay, it doesn't make sense. So it collapsed. And if you watch that animal after the danger disappeared, and you would watch the video in slow-mo, you can see it shaking and you see the legs fulfilling the same movement as if it was running. So
Interesting.
yeah, so I think that's so, the body is so powerful. The body really is like, you know what? Let's finish it. Let's make it round. In that situation, you couldn't run, but that is still in there. So it might be, and I've experienced that myself, that we kind of recreate the same circumstances around the trauma that happened to us on a very unconscious level, in order to overcome what back in the day when it happened we were not able to. So it's a very physical thing. So it's also a very physical work. And I think and I wish and I hope that especially in Germany, and especially in the Western world, maybe let's put it that way, we can learn to move away from the power of the mind and the thoughts to the power of somatics, the body, the intuition, because this is where most of this is stored and kept. And this is, since it's stored and kept there, the place that we need to go to if we want to heal, if we want to become whole again.
Because, our brain is also constructed to keep us alive.
Yes.
And, when we step into the unknown or out of our comfort zone, our brain goes totally bananas.
Yeah.
So, and, when my brain goes totally bananas, then I think, oh, okay, this is actually good. When my brain starts like, oh, no, you shouldn't do this. Oh, nah, nah. Are you really good enough for that? Nah, all those negative thoughts that are coming.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if the nervous system is actually really telling me that there's something dangerous, or is that also like overstepping back, like stepping out of my boundaries?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I love it because the nervous system and the brain, of course, they're interconnected. They work, they collaborate with each other, and it is the same. The nervous system loves what is normal for the nervous system. And if, for example, I grew up in a dysfunctional family, there was a lot of drama, then drama is normal for me. And even as an adult, I will do everything on a subconscious level to create drama. I might suffer from it, I might not like it, but my system and my nervous system says, we're at home because we know drama. So if maybe we stay with that example, might be that I find a loving partner that is sweet, reliable, and the nervous system will freak out because it says, I don't know this, I don't know this. That's super weird. He's just nice. He's calling me back when he's saying so. No, there is something wrong. And then
He's
it
cheating
might
on
be
me,
that,
definitely.
yes, you know, like so many things. And then the nervous system might, and I might not even want that, create something. So I create some drama. I might be like, you were with a friend. Is that really true? And then like, okay, what's happening? So it is the same. So it happens very often also in my work because there is one part of the nervous system that we call the window of tolerance. And what we always should aim for in terms of health, in terms of growth, is a regulated state that we find within this window of tolerance. And for some people who don't find themselves in that window, who either find themselves in a very activated state, like they're super anxious, they're always like this, like, I don't know, nervous, irritated, like, or on the other spectrum, they're in what we call, like, the one very activated is like a hyper arousal. Also, what do we know? Like someone's hyper, someone's like, there's everything is a bit too much energy. So speaking very fast, they're like, no, everyone, whoa. Or it might be not enough energy and they find themselves in a hypo arousal. This is also like when people are very depressed, when they suffered from a burnout, then they find themselves on the other end of that spectrum. And it might be, it's the same. If again, I refer to the drama example, if I experience a lot of drama, then I'm probably rather in that hyper state, like I'm super emotional, I'm always reacting quite fast. And if then for the first time in my life, I move into this regulated state where I'm calm and connected with myself, this might be so terrifying that I can't even stay there, that I can't handle it. And this is quite, it's like a huge paradoxon because this is actually, I mean, if you would ask a person on a conscious level, like, do you want to feel safe? Do you want to feel connected? Most people probably would say, yeah, I really want that. Let's work towards that. But the nervous system is really so much like, I only trust what I know. I don't know this. I don't know this, even though it would be good for the body and for everything. It's like, oh, I don't know this. So we really, and that's the good news, have to train that, and we can train that. The nervous system and the brain as well, they're wired for growth, for healing, for forming new neural circuits. So we can do this, but it is, right, it requires some kind of work. It is some kind of training to move into that state more often and to expand the capacity to be in a state of being calm and connected